welcome back to my channel. So this video in particular is a lot different than a lot of the stuff that I post. I mostly post stuff about art, mental health awareness, and I've noticed that I've been doing a lot of vlogging, but in this video in particularly, I've been feeling very called and compelled to spread this message. This video is for anyone that is dealing with grief around the holidays. It could be the loss of a loved one, it could be heartbreak, it could be the loss of a job, it could be anything. And first of all, I just want to say that I'm very sorry. I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry that you're going through really hard times. And my heart goes out to you. I really feel empathy for you in this time of your life because life can be very difficult sometimes. And I feel like when the waves come in, sometimes they come crashing down in, and I feel like sometimes everything goes to hell all at once. And I know from personal experience, I've experienced quite a bit of loss in my life. And I also wanted to talk to the people who are spending the holidays alone as well, because there are a lot of people who suffer from loneliness. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is allow yourself the time and the space to feel your emotions. Give yourself a break. Give yourself the grace to feel it. Give yourself the compassion to cry. Allow yourself to feel the emotions. Just because you cry about it, it doesn't mean that you're a weak person. It just means that you have all of this energy pent up inside and all of these feelings, which I relate energy and feelings to, and you have all of this pent up inside of you. And when we bottle it, and it's kind of like a bottle of pop. If you shake something so much, it's going to explode when you open the top. And I think so often we mask our emotions, we hide them from others. It's almost taboo to cry in public. It's almost unheard of to cry in front of others. There's not a lot of people that do it. Basically, if you cry on social media or wherever, people call you names or they call you weak, you're the weak-minded. But I really feel like the people who have the biggest hearts feel the most intensely. You know, sometimes we don't have people to talk to. Sometimes the one person that we've had in this lifetime that we felt like we could share everything to is no longer here. And you know, I think the thing with grief is people are so quick to slap a time limit on it. I remember after my mom passed away, I was 18 years old, I started dating this guy, and I was like, it was a little bit over a year after it happened, and he looked at me and he goes, well, you should be over it by now, right? Like putting a time limit on my grief. And I am someone who has struggled in my early 20s with depression, anxiety, severe mental health issues. And I was going to therapy, I've been on medications, and I felt like there was no hope, and I felt like nobody cared, and it really sucked because I have learned to, throughout the years, mask my emotions and pretend like everything was okay, because when I was younger, in my family circle, I was called a big baby because I was very sensitive. I was called names because I had such big feelings. And I think that the one thing that people really don't think about when they want to call you names like that and stuff, or judge you for the way that you're feeling, or judging you because you're crying or you're sad about something, they don't see the other side of things. They don't see that you're the person who's always there for them. You're the first person that they call when they have an issue in your life. And a lot of times it's not reciprocated, and that's very hurtful sometimes. And if you're one of those people and I'm describing you, I just want to say that my heart goes out to you, and I'm really sorry that people aren't taking the time to listen to you. I'm sorry that people aren't taking the time to understand where you're coming from, because we live this human experience, and I think that the one thing that all of us crave the most is connection. Whether we're introverted, extroverted, we need that connection to survive. We need connections and love. Love is the thing that pulls on our heartstrings. Love is the thing that keeps us together. Love is the thing that restores hope. And I just hope today that you know that you're loved as well. If you're experiencing the loss of a loved one, go do an activity. Do something that you used to do together. Do something that reminds you of them. Like, for so long, I ran from things that me and my mom used to do together because I felt like it brought me so much pain. But I'll tell you from personal experience, the more that I ran from those things, the worse that my mental health got, the worse that it hurt. Sometimes doing that activity alone can make you feel like you're closer to them again. The holidays are hard, you know, especially if you're going through a breakup or you lost somebody you loved. we have this lack of sunlight. We have something called daylight savings times in certain regions of the United States, and there's limited sunlight, and we're not outside as much, and we're not taking care of ourselves. And this is for me to remind you to make healthier food options, get some sunlight, stay active. Like, sometimes you can feel like you're doing all the right things and you're still sad, but yeah, so like the more that you do stuff, the more it's gonna become a part of your daily life. It's gonna become part of your habits. And I think that a lot of times we don't allow ourselves to do healthy things for ourselves, because if you're someone who's struggling with mental health and stuff, like you really don't have that best of self-esteem at the time, because the mind can be a relentless thing, especially if you haven't worked on it for years, or you feel like you're stuck and the thoughts are spiraling. And our brains can be so mean to us, and a lot of times I have to, like, personally myself, I have to redirect my thoughts, and I have to have more positive self-talk, like the negative thoughts like, oh, you're worthless, or whatever my mind tries to tell me. I try and reverse psychology and be like, no, I am worth it, I have value. And just giving yourself some positive feedback about yourself. Think of some things that you're grateful for yourself about, When I talk about healthy food options, I'm talking about the gut. Everyone always tells you trust your gut. Everyone always tells you, what's your gut telling you? What's your intuition telling you? Your gut, like, in order to make healthy choices, I feel like exercise and deciding what you're going to eat and put into your body go hand in hand with that. Like, is your gut healthy? A lot of our happy chemicals are made in our gut, or they're stored there, and that's where they come from. And if we're feeding ourselves garbage, it's going to make the feelings that we already have intensify even more. I know that sometimes it's hard, especially when you don't want to get out of bed, but it starts with small things. And dealing with the loss of someone can really suck, and you struggle with feelings of sadness, and that can linger and turn into depression, or turn into anxiety, or turn into anger for some people. And the one thing that I want to tell you today is that you're human. You're allowed to feel emotions. You're allowed to be sad about something. You're allowed to be angry about it. And I think that there's people who, they come externally and they're from the outside looking in, they're like, well, you should be over that, or you should be moved on, or like, if you break up with someone, they're like, oh, you didn't need them anyway. And that your friends or your family, they try and say things that make you feel better, but you find yourself feeling like, okay, well, they're not really hearing me out. They're not listening to me. And sometimes you don't want advice. Sometimes all you want is for somebody to listen to you. And I also want you to know that there's no time limit on grief. Everybody deals with things differently. Everybody's sensitivity levels are different. Everybody feels things different. And everybody deals with grief in a different manner. Some people like to exercise. Some people like to talk to others about it so that they feel better. Whatever you find that makes you feel better, do more of that. And if you're surrounded by people that aren't listening to you, stop talking to them. Stop telling them about the things, because here's the thing. I'm not saying like disregard your feelings and don't talk to anybody about it, but when you're surrounded by people that aren't listening to you, you kind of start to feel like you're wasting your breath. You kind of feel like your feelings don't matter. Find people who are going to listen to you. Find people that are going to be supportive of you and give you constructive feedback, or are empathetic towards you, and who understand your soul and your heart on an emotional level. It's so easy for people to tell us how to deal with our pain or put a cap on our grief when we're the ones living inside of our own bodies. Yeah, it's kind of like when you lose somebody that you love, whether they passed away, whether you broke up with someone, whether you're not friends with someone no more, it still hurts. And there's going to be days and times where it hits differently. There's going to be days where you feel okay with it. And then there's going to be days that are really, really, really hard, and you don't know what you're going to do with your emotions. And sometimes you feel like you're going to break. A lot of times you miss them. And I want to tell you today that it's okay to miss somebody. It's okay to, even if you were in a really crappy relationship and you miss somebody, like, they're human and you had a connection with them. Doesn't mean you should get back together with someone who treated you like garbage. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that it's okay to miss somebody that used to be in your life, because it's a lifestyle change. You go from living with somebody to not talking to them anymore. And it's like grieving the loss of somebody who's still alive. And if you're going through that today, I just want to tell you that my heart goes out to you, and I'm very sorry that you're going through this. If you're experiencing the loss of a loved one, my mom has been gone for, it'll be 11 years, 4 days after Christmas, and I still have my days. I still cry because I miss my mom. There's times where I feel like I need my mom. I went through all of this stuff in my 20s and all of this adulting and all of these, I was handed all of these responsibilities even though I was a very mature child, and I had to learn how to live without my mom, and that was devastating to me. I mean, I don't think that I could have went through anything harder. When you lose somebody that you really love a lot, not everybody understands that, because not everybody's lost somebody close to them. Say if you're close to your grandparent and someone that you talk to, they were never close to their grandparents, they're never going to understand where you're coming from, because if you're grieving over the loss of a grandparent and they had a crappy relationship or their grandparents weren't in their lives, they're not going to understand on your capacity. They're not going to understand the relationships, because relationally, relationships are different. Relationships vary, the closeness varies, and when you have that one person in your life that's your support system and it's ripped away from you, that's devastating. So I just want to tell you today that if somebody's trying to dismiss your grief or your pain or make you feel bad about missing somebody who's died, even if it's been 20, 40 years, it is okay to miss somebody, or you're human. If they didn't mean that much to you, it wouldn't hurt so bad. People don't think about that. So, and sometimes people are awkward, they don't know how to talk about stuff, and I apologize on their behalf. And I just wanted to make this video because there were so many times in my life where I felt alone, and I just wish that I would have had that little bit of advice, or I would have felt like I had that, support from somebody who understood where I was coming from. So if you're seeing this video today, my heart goes out to you. I'm sorry you're going through hard times, and this is gonna pass. It might suck right now, and it might suck in the moment. Allow yourself to talk about it, allow yourself to feel it, cry about it, journal about it. Go to one of those rooms where you break stuff if you're angry, or beat the crap out of a punching bag, or however you decide to manage your grief. But I feel like there's so many of us who feel like we can't openly talk about the wounds that left a very deep scar within us, and we've healed through things, but we still grieve because we're human. It's who we are to the core. So if you're seeing this video today, I want you to know that things are gonna get better, things are gonna pass, and your feeling is just temporary. Your feelings matter. It's temporary though. You're not gonna be stuck forever. If I could, I would hug you right now, and I just hope you have a great rest of your week, and I hope I made the holidays feel a little bit less lonely. So, I love you guys, and have a beautiful holiday season.